Hello, hello. I'm Dr. LaJoyce Brookshire, and welcome to Ask the Good Doctor Live. I am here to help you attain, maintain, and reclaim your perfect health and your mind, body, and spirit to help get it back into balance. Well, as you can see today, we're really kind of stripped down. I don't have any banner up. I barely comb my hair. I have on my runaround jog clothes. I have just had it up to here today. Not just today, but this has been building. And I am wanting to talk to you because I know a lot of people are also feeling this way. So I wanted to have a conversation about emotional stress, emotional exhaustion, and what we have been enduring in this last year and a half. It has been a lot for everyone. And in my own personal life as well, it has also been a lot of loss. And I don't think there's anyone on the planet at this point with 600,000 people dead that we have not all experienced a lot of loss. So it's just building and building and building. And let me just say, I just needed to pause today to say it. I needed to pause today to share that it's okay not to feel okay. And it's also okay to acknowledge that I'm just tired. It's okay to say emotionally, I'm all cried out. I'm all cried out. 1 minute before this show came, another phone call. I'm all cried out. And Pastor Brookshire, y'all didn't know I was also a licensed ordained pastor. Yes. I'm going to put my collar on, my pastor, get up and take myself to the hospital today because I have some people to pray over and to pray for and to anoint and to give last rites to. And that in this season, all of what I do as a first responder, because being a doctor is a first responder, being a pastor is a first responder, being a wife and a mother is a first responder. We run toward danger. And at this juncture, in this last year and a half, shucks, all of us are first responders. In some kind of way, you've run toward danger when you've got that phone call from someone in your life. You've run toward danger when you've gotten that phone call from someone that you love, be it family or friend, even if it's just your next door neighbor because they're your next door neighbor. When you've heard someone screaming, you've run toward that scream in these times. We've all put ourselves on the line, and the emotional exhaustion of it can build and build and build and be negative and have a negative response if we don't take care of ourselves. So what can we do? Some people say, and I want you to drop in the chat on me today. I want you to really interact with me. Just share with me. Am I the only one? I know that I'm not because I'm talking to a lot of you, but say it here. Let's say it. Let's get it. Let's get at it. Let's tell the truth today. Let's feel like this is a safe space because it is. And I want to share with you some solid solutions about what you can do to overcome what we've been enduring, from the social injustice to now with a multiplicity of loss and injury and death and sickness. And I'm to the point where my calendar is so filled with people that need help, who are sick, who are dying, who are diagnosed with new diagnoses, who are coming down with things that they've never had before, people who are finding themselves sick for the first times in their lives. So much of that's what the buildup is on me right now. And as an intercessor, sharing health information about how you can stay well, that is burdensome for me. because here, even right here on this on this very YouTube channel, there are more than 200 videos to help you avoid the pitfall of being sick. And I will say to you that as COVID numbers increase, it's interesting to watch because there are a lot of things that can prevent COVID. A year ago, the COVID numbers were not what they are today. And when you think back to, well, what were we doing a year ago? A year ago, we were more hyper vigilant. We were extremely hyper vigilant 1 year ago, and the COVID numbers were diminishing. But now the COVID numbers are increasing. And a year ago, we were all unvaccinated. All right. Now, so many percentage of people are vaccinated and we have more numbers. Why? Are we dropping the ball somehow? Are we? And I know people who are vaccinated who are hospitalized. I know people who are unvaccinated who are hospitalized. I know vaccinated and unvaccinated people who are dead. Both. Well, what's the difference between last year and now? And I think it's diligence. I think it's the proactive measures that we took a year ago that we've tossed away now. Mm-hmm. And that leaves me a little emotionally exhausted. So let's get back onto the mask. And next week is a show on mask. I think next week, maybe the week after. I'm going to have different kinds of masks and how to wear them and which kind that you need to use and the tests to show whether or not your mask is sufficient. And so we are going to, you're welcome, Jay, for raising these questions. You're welcome. And because these are questions that need to be raised. But more than that, the concern that I have for you all and myself emotionally, we're all going to freaking crack wide open like an egg if we don't get at it. So we have to guard ourselves. I say that you have to guard your heart. You have to guide your eyes. You have to guide your ear gates. Protect what's going into your ears, your eyes, your heart. And for God's sake, watch what's coming out of that mouth of yours. We have the vitriol that has been spewed in America over a disease this has been the most unnerving time. So I protect myself by stepping away. I preserve myself by turning it off. I know that I cannot watch or participate in the news cycle the way I used to at one point in time. I know for a fact that I cannot listen to radio the same way that I used to listen to radio and on a continuous cycle. I've never been one to watch, even though I used to do news, okay? But I have never been one to watch the news cycle continuously. Thank you for your comment, Lucy. I know that even a third of people with COVID got shot. Okay, well, we have no idea what the numbers are from the people who got the COVID shot because they're not really being reported. And Jessica said, I find it so hard to take emotional rest sometimes with feeling like I'm wasting time. Let's just pause right there. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Jessica. Let's pause right there because self-care is mandatory. Taking a pause from the rest of the world to assess how we're feeling. How about let's digest how we're feeling? How about let's take an inventory of what's going on in here, in this temple. Before we take on the next news story, pause, turn it off, and digest the one you're in. Digest that, talk about it, call somebody, have a conversation. Oh my goodness, did you hear this? Oh my goodness, let me share with how that affected me. Tell the next person you know, tell your best friend. Do you have these conversations with someone else other than yourself? That's the huge question. We've got to start talking about these things with someone else other than ourselves. And if you have professional help, write those things down so that when you get to the office of your professional or to your Zoom call of your professional, that you can go down your list, 1, 2, 3. I have a very dear young lady who is one of my patients, and she'll tell me, I need an emotional checkup. I have some emotional issues that I would like to run by you. I have some emotional things that I'd like to discuss with you. So I know that when we make an appointment, what we're discussing, but she's young and she's concerned about her emotional well-being. Kudos to her. She is committed to her emotional health as well as her physical health. So all of these things that we need to do are a combination of things. We need to do them in concert with one another. They work synergistically side by side because it's not one or the other. It's both. It's everything. It's all. It's mind, body, and spirit. I don't give a daggone how much good food that you're eating. You don't take care of this mind right here, it's for naught. And I don't care how much you take care of this mind. Excuse me, if you don't eat well, it's a wrap. If you don't rest well, it's not good. Therefore, control what you see. Let's start there. I know people who are married to the daggone news. Go to sleep with CNN and wake up with CNN. CNN, this is no dig on you. I'm not taking away your viewers. I look at CNN also. But during the height of the pandemic, let me tell you what drove me crazy about CNN. And I had to turn it off. CNN had that little box that was telling us how many people were infected, how many people had died in America and worldwide. And while the person was talking, the ticker would count and increase while the person was talking. So you're watching this ticker. You're really not paying attention to what the person's saying. But me, I was visually fixated on the ticker. So I see in my little 5 minutes that I'm going to spend with CNN, I'm watching the numbers of people dead increase. I could not take it anymore. And then on the bottom, on the ticker, then they're running along the ticker, the this and the that, and the highlights and then they're running on the bottom. They're flipping the Dow, and then they're flipping. So I'm concerned about my stocks. And so all of this is flipping, and all of this is going on simultaneously, that if you don't have ADD, you'll end up with it. And it was just screech, pause. Do you know that when you are overtaxed emotionally, it blows out your adrenal system? Adrenal fatigue is one of the hardest things to diagnose. It is one of the hardest diseases to diagnose because many medical doctors don't get at where you are emotionally in your life in the 7 minutes that they spend with you doing managed care as they run from office to office. So they don't know what's happening in your life. They don't know that you've had multiple losses. They don't know what you have endured. They have no idea. So they can't put together the pieces that is the whole story. You must have the whole story. So Stacey said, sometimes your nerves and anxiety can cause a big problem with your health, as you know, for me. Yes, anxiety can cause a big part of your health and your nervous system. Your central nervous system is not designed to be punched and punched and punched every single day. It's not designed for that. And the last time I remember punching and punching and punching like that was when I was a kid and getting suspended every other week. We are not built to take so much. So you have to take a step back. And you have to, Jessica, not feel like when you take that step back that you're wasting time. It's not a time waster to regroup. It's not a time waster to swallow, digest, and then move on into whatever it is you need to do, whatever it is you're going to do. It's okay to just sit down for a moment. But I'm concerned with the kids who are always consistently, that's a concern of mine because children get overly emotionally taxed too. My very own technical producer here, Christopher, just said another one of his friends, his children's friend, committed suicide. And it's the second that they've experienced in a very short window. Why are these numbers on the rise? The mental health of our children is at risk. And we've got to make sure that their emotional exhaustion is addressed because children can't often express. They don't have the lexicon. They don't have the verbiage. During the middle of the pandemic, I was in my daughter's room every second getting on her nerves, sitting on her bed. What you doing? Let's go here. Let's go there. But even though there weren't many places to go and she was just learning to drive, I'd have her just do something simple like drive me to the grocery store just so she could get out of the room. But you have to be intentional about that. There weren't too many times I passed her door that I wouldn't just peek in, see what you're doing. No way am I leaving you unattended all day. What? That's a mistake. We're going through something that we've never been through before. You can't leave children unattended. You kidding me? To their own devices, literally devices. You can't leave children alone while they're just with that. And you can't leave them on to that idle mind. The idle mind is the playground of the devil. It is. All day, every single day. We know, though, that you should never let your emotions control you. Yeah, so they say. Until we face a freaking pandemic. All right? That has nothing to do with the pandemic that we're in. You shouldn't let your emotions control you. Okay, la-di-da, tra-la-la. So you say, until the straw gets on the camel's back too many times and then it breaks. So when psychogenie.com says you should never let your emotions control you, but what about having a no or zero emotions and going through life like a zombie? So having no emotions and going through life like a zombie is even worse. So Daniel says, I can't watch the news. I understand. All media, left and right, have their own agenda, especially okay, we're not calling out people, especially CNN on Fox. Okay, good, your opinion. LOL, yes. I find it better to focus on myself and my family to keep my mental and physical health well. Exactly. Keep your mental and physical health well. Vicky says, not a time waster. Take a nap if you can. Oh, how about the nap is the best thing? You know what I started doing for my personal self-care when I was in the midst of the pandemic? I scheduled reading time with my daughter. We would read at 1:00. So I blocked out the 1:00 time frame. No appointments at 1:00. I don't teach any classes at 1:00. 1:00 was our reading time. We'd get in my bed and read for 1 hour and set the timer. And you know what? It was a great practice. It was a great escape. It was a bonding time also, but it was also a time to just power everything down. No phone zone, no TV zone, just everything quiet for 1 hour. That is so replenishing and so refreshing for the spirit that it's something that I have maintained even now, even though she's gone back to going to college now. It's something that I have maintained, and I will probably maintain that because my books that I wanted to read were literally stacking up on my bookshelf because I wasn't making the time for myself to engage in a pastime that I enjoy. And that is reading. So I had to force myself. I put it on my calendar. Talk about scheduling, because we all know that we can get overscheduled, which, by the way, contributes to emotional exhaustion because it increases to the amount of stress in your life. So here's the thing. I want you to picture this glass. All right. This glass currently has water in it. So if I put one brick on top of this glass, this is a pretty sturdy jar because this is my gangster water glass. Yes, it is. So if I put one brick on top of this, it probably won't break. This glass could probably withstand, though, about 10 bricks because it's sturdy. A typical drinking glass could probably only withstand about 5 bricks. But what we want to make sure that we do every day is not carry the brick of the things that are weighing us down today. Don't carry that into tomorrow. I use the same analogy with your pee in the toilet. So your pee in the toilet should be clear by 12 noon, heading toward the end of the day. And certainly by the time you go to bed or by the time you have dinner, your pee should be clear in the toilet for sure. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to carry the toxicity of today into tomorrow. You want to make sure that tomorrow, as you sleep, as the kidneys do their job, that you have a clean slate. So be it with your emotional health. Whatever the weight and the burden is of today, get rid of it. Get rid of it today and do not carry it into tomorrow. Now, that may be easier said than done for some, and I know it's true. But if we try, how about we try to engage in that practice? And this way thank you, Doris. And this way we will at least have an exercise to work toward. So here's what I do. When I take my shower or when I take my bath at night, as I see the suds of the soap go down the drain, that to me is an indicator that I'm washing away the day. And when I'm in the tub and I flip that switch and all of the water goes down the drain, then everything of the day is going down the drain. That's my visualization. I need a visualization. It's mine. So tonight because I'm just up to here today, tonight, I am going to have an amazing soak in some Himalayan salt with some lavender and a whole lot of suds in my jacuzzi, because when I flip the switch, I want to see it go down today, because today has been exceptionally hard for me. And because today has been hard, I needed to see it go down the drain. I need the visualization that it's going to go, and I'm going to help it go. I'm also going to pray. I pray all the time, but I'm going to tell you all something. To my God, who is my Father in heaven, and I am a Christian woman, and so Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior of my life, full disclosure, don't turn the dial if that's not you. Whatever it is you hold on to when times get hard, it's what I hold on to. See, you have to have something or someone to hold on to when things get hard, or you are going to completely break apart. Prayer is the best outlet. Prayer is a good one. I feel that my prayers get answered, and it may not come when you want it, but eventually it will come. It gives me comfort to know that I can lay things on the altar, give it to God, and He will fight my battles, fight my troubles. I can give those things to Him, and it makes me feel better. It's my comfort. And so I'm going to pray. I've been praying all day. Additionally, that when I pray and I know that my prayers are answered, I feel the Holy Spirit enveloping me. And I feel comforted. I feel rocked. I feel cradled. I feel loved. I don't feel alone. And so those are just some of the things that I do. I will share with you now that now is the time to get right with God because it's later than it's ever been before. And if you think COVID is something, if you read the book I read, the Holy Bible, or whatever your religious book may be, it speaks of plagues. And this is not going to be the last plague. Are you kidding me? This will not be the last plague. We are living in biblical times. This is like a movie. This is playing out in real time. It's playing out. This is in panoramic. You're like, oh my God. This is written in the Holy Scriptures. You don't have to believe me. Pick up a Bible, read it, and you shall see that these times are written already. So I don't mean to be doom and gloom, and I'm not. I'm just saying what is. All right, it's written. But I've also know this. I've looked to the end of the book, and guess what? We win. God wins. His people win. I will also tell you that now is the time to get right with your health because it's later than it's ever been before. Listen, stop clowning. Stop drinking all kinds of things that are of no benefit. Scroll back a few weeks on my YouTube videos here and look at that video where I pour the coffee into a 64-ounce container of water and it still looks like coffee after putting 64 ounces on top of 1 ounce of water. Are you kidding me? Get off that coffee. Get off that pop. Get off those dark cold. Get off of all of that mess that is not benefiting you. Get off of anything that is still keeping your pee in the toilet dark and funky. Remember, there is 1 gallon of water in the toilet already. And if you can't dilute that 1 gallon of water, you are in trouble. Go outside. Enjoy nature. Inhale. Smell the green. Go out in the morning before it starts getting all crazy outside. Before it starts getting all polluty, before it starts getting too hot or too cold or whatever, or just go outside and inhale fresh air. Stay out there at least 20 minutes. Get vitamin D. The darker skin you are, the more vitamin D you need. My daughter and I are both light skinned, but guess what? And we were going outside every day, but guess what? Both of our vitamin D numbers were in the toilet. Mine was 20, hers was 15. So we take that Designs for Health vitamin D, and her vitamin D moved from 15 to 42 in 2 months. Yes. And mine moved to 48. We're both heading for 55. That's the number. I'm going to tell you something. From medical doctors who have told me this, people who contract COVID, the difference between the people who live and the people who die. If their vitamin D was high and their inflammation was low, they lived. If their vitamin D was low and their inflammation was high, they died. Yeah. Get your vitamin D up. Get your inflammation down. Eat foods that fight inflammation, like all of the cruciferous vegetables, all your green leafy vegetables, fruit, vegetables. Stay away from the grains. Stop eating so much of that sugar and processed foods. Cook your meals at home. Now is the time. Oh, now is the time. And do you know that when you are supported emotionally, when you are supported nutritionally, it's easier to support your emotions. You have a buffer, because what did we do the whole time we were on COVID? We ate, right? We ate a lot of comfort foods. We packed on weight. We didn't go outside. We did all of those things. And, we were quarantined during the wintertime. So we were in, okay? Like little squirrels in. And so emotionally, a lot of people cracked then too. But now it's building again. It's building again. I just needed to speak to this specific thing today. So if you have some questions, you could drop them in the chat right now. Numbness is the worst. Yes. Prayer is the best outlet. Yes. We're told to cast your anxiety on him because he cares for you. That is absolutely true. Christopher said, what is the way to regain energy and to recharge? Christopher, the best way to regain energy is to sleep, to get sleep during the hours when the body is healing. I'm sorry, y'all, my face is so puffy, but I've been crying today. Okay. But the best way to do it is to recharge by getting sleep, quality sleep. Go to bed at 10 o'clock. Go to bed at 10 o'clock. Then you can get the restorative sleep. I think we talked about that last week on the show. Go back and look at last week's show. That is the best way to regain your energy, because when you are exhausted emotionally and physically, you don't stand a chance to recover. And see, that pile up, that build up is what then breaks the adrenal system. That's your fight or flight response. That is when you have nothing left, when you are absolutely positively empty. And it's okay to say when you are empty. It's okay. Today, I'm not so empty that I can't help somebody today. Okay. So I'm going to go and help somebody today. But probably tomorrow, I probably will be on empty. And I will take tomorrow to refill myself. So understand also your limitations. Understand it's okay to say no when your cup is empty. I really wanted to support a family who had a dear friend of mine, like a brother. Their brother died here in my town here, and he was beloved in this community. I went to that funeral. There were so many people there because he was so loved. I could not get out of my car. It was so many people there, and a lot of people were not masked. I went there, I said a prayer, I extended my hand to give energy to the place, let my spirit be felt, and I drove away, because that by itself would have depleted me. And I just couldn't feel depleted in that way. The anxiety of worrying about my health in that situation. I'm pretty confident of what I do for my health, but I don't place myself in situations. I don't trust. Not if I don't have to be. So sometimes it's okay. Excuse me, all of the time it is okay to say no, especially when you feel yourself headed toward empty. Don't ever get past empty, because it takes too long to recover from empty. Acknowledge every day, fill this cup. Let it overflow. Let it overflow. That's what I do with my vitamins. I fill myself up that I'm overflowing with nutrition, with good nutrition. But I don't emotionally tax myself to the point where this glass gets empty. I'm the glass. I never let myself get empty. I have a good night rest all of the time. So the next day, I can be the first responder that I am. Right? But today I'm declaring, all right, I'm emotionally exhausted. I'm going to help one more person today. And then I'm coming and I'm going to woosah. I'm going to take that soapy bath. I'm going to let that water run down the drain. I'm going to visualize everything running down the drain that I've experienced today that has me up to here. I'm not over here yet. I'm up to here. But by the time I do this last deed for the day, I would have been here, and then I'm going to recharge. Recognizing it is most of the battle. Right? So you don't want to get to the point where somebody else tells you, girl, you better go sit down somewhere. I have a friend who I work with very closely. She's like a sister to me, and we're working on a very big project. I just had to tell her, you know what, my love, I think you need to take a sabbatical. Yeah, we've got you from here. Dealing with a lot of stuff, dealing with family, and having more than one family person sick at the same time. Whoa. And you have to carry everything. Come on. So let's see who else here has said something. If anybody has any questions, Christopher, I hope that asked your question. I hope that gave you some insight on how to recharge. All right. And we are going to the final thought. Nobody in this lifetime is spared of turmoil. No one in this lifetime will escape without having a deep level of emotional distress at some point in their lives. I say to you, get ready, brace yourselves. You have some solid solutions in your hand right now Go use them for yourself, teach others how to use it. And then only when your cup runneth over can you go and help somebody else. So I'm about to go do that right now. So that does it for me. I want to thank my team. I'm Dr. LaJoyce of Brookshire, here to help you attain and maintain your perfect health, mind, body, and spirit. So let's do it again next week, okay? God bless you.